It is a beautiful day of the winter in the beautiful city of Dresden. The date is 13th February 1945. No one knew at that time that sooner the whole city was going to be destroyed in front of their own eyes, and nearly 700,000 people are going to die. Later in the day, the sky was booming with the noise of fighter jets, and right in front of their eyes, the whole city got destroyed. On the other morning, before anyone can understand what is happening, the whole of Germany was under attack. Soldiers were being killed, cities were being bombed, and catastrophe everywhere eyes can reach. In a matter of just 2 days, about 5 million people died. The Nazis were thrown away, and the whole country was taken under control by the Allied forces. After this much of destruction and catastrophe, everyone thought that the nation will never be the same beautiful place that it once used to be. The country was divided in halves and started being ruled by 4 other nations. This was the miserable story of Germany after the World War II. But somehow, Germany survived this and became one of the most powerful nations with the 4th largest economy. But how did a completely destroyed country reach this stage in the time of 5 decades or so? And how is it linked with these 2 guys, and how the Allied forces helped it unintentionally to reach where it is today? After the devastation of World War II, West Germany rebounded with a so-called economic miracle that began in 1948. West Germany's economy became one of the most respected in the world as a result of the subsequent growth and stability. This is only because of one man, Ludwig Erhard. Ludwig Erhard had a huge impact on the German economy, who once criticized by everyone for his decisions, but all the allegations were sorted out when he proved everyone wrong with his economic plans for the development of Germany in the post-World War era. He was a World War I soldier, a business school graduate, and a largely anonymous researcher for a company that studied the economics of the restaurant sector. But in 1944, when the Nazi Party was still firmly in charge of Germany, Erhard dared to write an essay about Germany's financial situation that was based on the assumption that the Nazis lost the war. His work finally reached American intelligence agencies, who quickly went in search of him. He was chosen to be the finance minister of Bavaria after Germany's surrender, and he eventually worked his way up the corporate ladder to become the director of the Economic Council of the still occupied western half of Germany. Once he gained political influence, Erhard began to make huge efforts to bring West Germany's economy back to life. First, he played a large role in formulating a new currency issued by the Allies to replace the worthless remnant of the past. This plan would reduce the amount of currency available to the public by a staggering 93%, a decision that would reduce the little wealth that German individuals and companies held. The currency was scheduled to be introduced on June 21, 1948. It was an extremely controversial move, but he didn't stop there. Erhard also decided to remove price controls on the same day. He was almost universally criticized for this decision. Erhard was brought into the office of U.S. General Lucius Clay, who was the commanding officer overseeing the occupied western half of Germany. Clay told Erhard that his advisors informed him that the Germans' drastic new policy would be a terrible mistake. In this famous reply, Erhard told him that, "Don't listen to them, General. My advisors tell me the same thing." But remarkably, Erhard proved everyone wrong. Almost overnight, West Germany came to life. Shops immediately became stocked with goods as people realized that the new currency had value. Bartering ceased quickly, the black market ended, as the commercial marketplace took hold and as people once again had an incentive to work. West Germany's famed sense of industriousness also returned. This is why he is also known nowadays as the father of German economic miracle. In May of 1948, Germans missed approximately 9.5 hours of work a week, spending their time desperately looking for food and other necessities. But in October, just weeks after the new currency was introduced and price controls were lifted, that number was down to 4.2 hours per week. In June, the nation's industrial production was about half of its level in 1936. By the end of the year, it was close to 80%. Back in the day, Erhard was strongly influenced by Walter Eucken, who was also known as the father of ordoliberalism and closely linked with the development of the concept of social free market. In order to make sure that the system worked for as many people as possible, Eucken's theories allowed for some government engagement while being firmly anchored in the free market capitalism camp. He also supported having a strong central bank independent from the government, which focused on using monetary policies to keep prices stable. In many ways mirroring the same thoughts brought to fame by American economist Milton Friedman. Even while the economic structure Eucken was advocating today sounds entirely conventional, at the time it was considered to be radical. Eucken's philosophy must be viewed in the context of the time period from which it emerged. The Marshall Plan, also known as the European Recovery Program, also contributed to Germany's revival. The United States gave more than $15 billion, or around $173 billion, in today's prices to European countries affected by World War II as a result of George Marshall's legislation, with a significant portion of this money going to Germany. Though the success of the Marshall Plan has been debated by economic historians, some have estimated that aid from the Marshall Plan contributed less than 5% to Germany's national income during this period. Over time, West Germany's growth persisted. Its industrial output increased 4 times by 1958, compared to just a decade earlier. Germany was caught in the middle of the Cold War at this time. The government played a significant role in West Germany's economy, which was predominantly capitalist and a strong ally of the United States. East Germany was communist and strongly allied with the Soviet Union. These two countries side by side provided an ideal chance to compare the two major economic systems in the world. Unexpectedly, there weren't many things to contrast. East Germany lagged behind West Germany's growth. Residents of East Germany soon rebelled due to a failed economy and a lack of political liberties, and despite travel restrictions, a large number of people attempted to flee the nation. For the first time in decades, the East German government permitted citizens to travel directly to the West on November 9, 1989. East Germany very immediately collapsed as a result of this. The two sides would soon be back together. However, it would take a while before the two sides were on an equal footing. The eastern sections of the country had barely 30% of the western half's per capita GDP when reunification took place. The East still only possessed roughly 75% of the GDP of its counterparts more than 30 years later. But none of this could have been imagined in 1948. Additionally, the German economic miracle might not have occurred if Ludwig Erhard and Walter Eucken had not been around. Fast forward to today's world, incomes have increased recently in the majority of economic sectors despite significant cyclical changes. This is where the export-focused industries come to play. The automotive sector continued to lead with 436 billion euros in revenue in 2019. It makes a significant contribution to growth and prosperity as a leader in innovation. Due to its strong ties to industries in the chemical, electrical engineering, steel, metal, and textile industries, vehicle manufacture also ensures profits for other industries. However, businesses in other industries such as the healthcare sector or the electrical engineering sector also have significant turnover rates. These industries provide a wide range of employment prospects due to their vast service portfolios. Time magazine recently noted that many German businesses have specialized on the unsexy side of the industrial spectrum. Not smartphones or iPads, but machineries and other heavy equipment. Some German businesses, including automakers and the third largest software supplier in the world, may disagree and maintain that their goods fall squarely on the sexy side of the market. However, the analysis is essentially accurate. The German economy's growth engine is a highly specialized industrial sector, creating a highly specialized product. The sector has always been a significant pillar of its prosperity. It represents up to 22% of the German economy overall, a share that is competitive on a global scale. The majority of Germany's visible exports are industrial goods. Today, Germany is 2 steps behind China in terms of GDP. We know that China is the largest manufacturing hub. It makes almost every product that we might need in our day-to-day life, but the machineries that are being utilized for that, those are manufactured by the Germans. So when you buy a product that you think is made in China, a part of it may be due to Germany. In numerous industries and markets around the world, German enterprises are in the lead. This is true, for instance, of so-called green technologies or items designed to protect the environment and the climate. The German economy has a significant market share in the emerging field of renewable energy, which includes photovoltaics, wind power, and highly efficient power plant technologies. The motorbike, the tram, and the automobile were all revolutionary inventions. In a world that is increasingly globalized, a nation's capacity for innovation is essential if it is to maintain its position as a major player. With over 60,000 patent applications, Germany topped the European rankings in 2020. German researchers and engineers have to be bold in implementing ideas if they are to enhance this potential for innovation. But a challenge is the lack of young, qualified personnel. Germany is therefore partially reliant on the immigration of highly skilled professionals to further increase its capacity for innovation. In conclusion, intelligent individuals are crucial now and will remain so in the future, whether they are German or not. The strongest points of Europe's biggest economy come from its exceptional infrastructure, highly developed corporate and service sectors, higher education system, first-rate vocational training, particularly in skilled crafts and trades, and last but not least, its ability to produce technological innovations. Research and development spending is a crucial sign of a nation's economy and competitiveness. Approximately 3% of Germany's GDP was allocated to R&D in 2019. That is a sizable share when compared to other European nations. Additional benefits for the young people include the ability to begin working in their 20s and the close linkages between German universities and companies, which help the economic growth. Small to medium-sized firms account for more than 99% of all businesses in Germany, which is known as Mittelstand. Other nations do not experience this to the same extent. A small and medium-sized enterprise, or SME, is any company with fewer than 500 employees. However, if a much larger company is run in the same manner as a small or medium-sized business, the word Mittelstand is frequently used to refer to it as well. In that situation, it signifies that the owners are generally responsible for corporate decisions and bear the associated risks. The majority of SMEs are working to ensure the business's long-term viability and place a high emphasis on enduring connections with clients. You are more than one of many when working for an SME. Many German SMEs are technology-driven, which fits with the country's historical tendency for invention and tinkering. All SMEs focus on the product's qualities. Many of these businesses dominate their respective markets in Europe or around the world. Numerous workers working in a variety of disciplines, including development, production, sales, and service, and active in the innovation process and contribution to innovate within the often modest organizational structures of these businesses. In actuality, so-called secret champions frequently create the most amazing inventive things. These businesses are typically anonymous Mittelstand members in Germany. Up to 1,500 of these unsung heroes fuel Germany's economic engine. Many are hidden away in provinces, so their contribution is occasionally underestimated. Many of them have thousands of workers and staff. They are valued as employers because they typically have a long-term perspective and offer stable, well-paying jobs. So this is how Germany's economy rose to the fourth largest in the world. The bigger picture is that Germans are known for their higher standards of quality and their innovation. Some of their actions, which have been seen earlier, were well planned, while some had a little bit of luck and coincidence. The innovative younger generation is closely linked with the German brands, and many of the things with it, like the contribution of Erhard and Jucken, the education system, and SMEs, which made Germany the fourth largest economy.